Welcome to Who's This For, a podcast about creating with intention. I talk with artists, entrepreneurs, and media makers about connecting with their audience by focusing on a single person. You create music, brands, experiences, or stories. This is the podcast for you. Well, thank you for listening to Who's This For, a podcast about speaking intentionally to an audience of one. Even if you're speaking to 10 or a million people, it's something I really truly believe in, that we are always at the heart of it, communicating with another person. And on today's show, I have someone that I've been impressed seeing how they communicate from afar on LinkedIn of all places. And I really am stoked for this episode to talk about how professionals can communicate, but in how we can communicate for real in the professional sphere. So I am so glad to welcome to the stage Bradley Jacobs. How's it going today?
Thanks for having me.
Well, thank you so much for joining me. To kick things off, let's talk about you and Mylance. I've read your story a few times and it's really well shared on LinkedIn. Do you want to give the viewers and listener your background?
I went to Duke. I was a mechanical engineer undergrad and then immediately went into the business world. When I graduated, I was actually a management consultant for a few years. Just get my feet wet in the business world, learn what I could. I actually heard of this startup called Uber back in 2014. And yeah, I had taken an Uber maybe for the first time in late 2013. One of my friends was working there. And so I interviewed, and long story short, worked at Uber from 2014 to 2018. And I was launching new business lines. I launched Uber Eats in Miami and Milan, over in Italy, and launched the Uber Freight business in the US. And I got this incredible experience across those 4.5 years. And I was done building businesses for somebody else. I was like, I've learned a lot here, but it's time for me to go out on my own. I'd always felt that entrepreneurial drive inside. And so I actually just quit and started kind of experimenting with a bunch of different things. I started consulting. I started in e-commerce. I started a blog. I just did a bunch of stuff. I spoke with a lot of people. I was working on a travel business with a few friends. Fast forward, the consulting business, I was consulting by myself, helping mostly seed and Series A startups scale their marketplaces, given my Uber experience. I loved it. The money was great. The clients were amazing. I loved being the expert in the room. And I was working like 20 hours a week. It was truly like a dream. And it felt too good to be true. And I saw, as I learned more and more about this space, I was like, wow, there's really an opportunity to help more people live this life. And as much as I was loving helping 2, 3, 4 clients at a time, I wanted a bigger scale impact. And so I wound down my consulting business. I kept one client to pay the bills. And then I founded Mylance. I founded Mylance in 2020. And the mission being, make the independent life sustainable. That's what it's always been about that. It's like, how did we make this more doable? Because as a business of one, it's just so challenging to do all of the things a business needs to do. It's just you. Over the years, we've been focusing on business development. We built an AI LinkedIn product now. It really helps you become a thought leader on LinkedIn. I feel like it's a good enough intro for now.
Oh, that's a fantastic intro. And I kind of want to ask you right off the bat, how do you approach communications differently for something like Uber, which is, a mass company for everyone who needs an Uber, who needs to Uber somewhere, or you have Uber Eats? How do you approach when you're communicating to a public that's that vast versus Mylance, where you're communicating really to like single people working from their house, sitting in their rocking chairs, making their business happen? How does that change how you're communicating?
I think it's actually less important the audience size and more of the persona of the person you're talking to. So, I was mostly on the driver side of the Uber operations. Like my customers, if you will, were all the drivers. And it's really the general public, right? If you think about it, it's people that are working part-time, that are happy making somewhere between $15 and $30 an hour, right? And just looking to either supplement their income, maybe get out of the house. Maybe it's really to like put food on the table. Some people are doing it full time. the communication there is frankly slightly different than the audience for Mylance are people often making 80, 100K plus, often more than that, 150K, well into the six figures. They're incredibly well educated. They worked at, big tech jobs often before they were consulting or big brand name companies. There's a professionalism that these people have and are used to. And so speaking to them in a way, because for me, as the business owner, I need to build authority and legitimacy with my Mylance customers. With the Uber drivers, that wasn't important. It was like solving their problem, right? Like, get me on the road or approve my insurance or where's the best place to drive or how do I make my rating go up or things like that, right? So, it really is different in the role that we're playing with the type of customer that it is and it's all about resonating. Because even in the Uber days, they need to respect us, right? They need to look to us as a trusted partner because we're a partner with them.
Right.
Right. And so at the end of the day, is my language resonating with my customer, whoever that customer is? And how do I need to speak to them in a way that they truly feel heard and seen, that I get their experience so that they can show up in whatever partnership we have to the fullest extent?
I love that. So for you, how granular do your personas get? Are you because sometimes for some orgs, I get down to almost having like an imaginary friend. And for some orgs, I have like a general person. How granular do you get?
It depends. I mean, we get pretty granular. Where do the problems change? So if I think about Mylance and our customer, let's just say the independent consultant, there's the person who wants to consult, but hasn't even started anything, right? Maybe they haven't even left their job or they haven't literally put a single toe in the water. That could be persona 1. Persona 2 might be someone who just got their first client, but has no idea what they're doing. And then on down the line, I don't need to run through them all, but there's 6 personas. The throughput that I have is, where are they in their consulting journey? Because that's what we found over the years of running this company is the biggest differentiator in what their problems are, what their mindset is, their ability and willingness to invest in tools and products and services on down the line. So there's kind of a benchmark of a certain kind of persona of, let's say they've been already a professional for 6 to 7 to 8 years. They already have some good experience. They have expertise. I'm a smart young gun out of college. We get super granular on the theme that matters most for the products that we're selling to see, are we solving the problem for this customer? So is their feedback valuable? And if it's a different customer, then we, can capture that feedback, but we may not act on it.
Wow. I love it. And, so I hear a lot of like the science and process in there. Do you ever get kind of like personal then with the personas, if that makes sense? Do you get what I'm asking there? Like, do you kind of ever like flush them out that much?
Well, we will create a person, right? Just getting started, Andy, and early in the journey, Sam. And, we're obviously putting names, ages, geography, business, like everything to that person. Right. Would, classify each person of like, okay, you are, and then we made it simple, like buyer persona 1 through 6. And you just say, all right, buyer personas 4, 5, and 6 are the ones we're working with, whatever it is. But we put interest to them. We put like where they hang out, where they spend time. What are they thinking about at 5 o'clock on a Tuesday? I think you really do want to humanize them. Yeah. They are human. And you want to figure out, like, from a marketing perspective, how can we resonate with them? I mean, that's what this is. That's why we do persona work, right? It's all about attraction and retention of a certain kind of person over time.
Right. Exactly. And I'd say, keeping those relationships too, like developing trusting relationships on some levels, which is what that authentic communication does. I see you, and we talked about this a little bit at the beginning. I see you sharing a lot of this journey through LinkedIn. Where was the point that you got into LinkedIn beyond just searching for a job? Because I think we all used it at first to give our first bosses recommendations and throw our inflated resumes on there. Like, that's how I got into it 13 years ago or whatever. But like, when did it become, or maybe have you always been using it as a social platform?
Yeah, it's a good question. When I left Uber, it was October 2018. And I had seen a bunch of my colleagues leave and they wrote those LinkedIn posts, right? Like, thankful for my time at Uber and all these people. I was like, okay, I'm going to write one of those, right? I'll write out like, thanks for my time and thank all these people. Spent some good time making a nice post. And I just posted it, didn't really think much of it, frankly. I checked back a few days later and it had, I think, 46,000 impressions. And I was blown away. I didn't have an audience at that time. Every once in a while, I would connect with new people based on colleagues or someone I met at a conference. There was no intentionality to it. But 46,000 impressions caught my eye. It's like, whoa, okay. Like, I haven't done anything with this platform, and this is the reach of it on one post. And what I started doing is I was going on this experimentation journey of figuring out what I wanted to do, what company I wanted to build. I was sharing my consulting that I was finding clients and how I was finding clients. And I was making all these mistakes early on.
Right.
And I just shared my journey. And as I shared my journey, a lot of my, especially Uber colleagues, reached out to me and they were like, hey, that sounds really interesting. I'd love to chat with you about it. So I was like, okay, this is interesting, right? Like, I'm sharing my journey. People want to talk to me. Now I'm having all these conversations. And maybe the 7th or 8th conversation, I was just like, I can help you be a consultant. I came up with a deal on the spot. I was like, give me some revenue share for the next 6 months, and I will just guide you every step of the way to build up your consulting business. That's really how Myland started. It started based on a whim of a conversation like this, where I was like, you know what, let me just help you. Because I'd learned a ton over the years of doing it. That's really where my LinkedIn journey started. And so I can owe a lot to LinkedIn in this genesis of Myland. Like, it was a really cool experience.
That's so cool that they are so integral to your journey. For people who've never really like used LinkedIn, like, you know, for we'll say for the Facebook users of the world, because I'll say this, to me, even on some levels, just the like basics of communicating on LinkedIn seems so different. What do you tell people about that who've like, you know, just never used it other than, again, posting or going on the resume or checking jobs?
I tell them it has completely changed my life. It takes time. It takes energy. It is such an incredibly low cost way to share what you learned, share your experiences. And you don't know the positive outcomes that come from that until you do it. There's no way I could have got on here in a podcast. I'm going to share my consulting journey. And then all these people are going to talk to me. And then I'm going to have this idea for a problem to solve. I'm going to sell one of those customers. And then I'm going to start this company called Myland. And in 5 years, I'll be talking to Scott about, you know, it's like, there's no way. And so it's one of those things I've done. This has been such a theme in my life of, I will just try things. I will just do things. And I don't know how it's going to go, but good things happen. Like, good things happen when you put yourself out there, when you're genuine, when you're authentic, when you just put in a little bit of work. I'd say the lowest hanging fruit in the world, in my opinion, is posting on LinkedIn a few times a week. Share your experience. Don't overcomplicate it. Like, what do you learn? What experiences have you had? What mistakes, learnings, wins, everything. Connect with new people every day. Add 5, 10, 20 connections every day. Just click on the connect button.
Yeah.
And you grow your following and you build relationships. And like, that's life, right? It's like, at this point, I've been adding those connections every day for 5 years and I have 24,000 of them. It didn't come overnight. This is 5 years. But they all know me. They know who I am. As you said, they know my story. They know what I'm about. So when I get on a sales call, I don't introduce myself anymore. They know who I am. And they're like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm talking to you. Like, I've been hearing your voice. I've been reading your stuff for months or maybe years. It's like, you can't buy that trust. You can't buy that.
Oh, that is interesting. I mean, that's the key why people do podcasts like this and stuff too. I love that you're just genuine and just trying, you know, that ability to just try something, I think is so interesting. I mean, I'm just like an 80s baby. So I've always had the like toys to play with and to build. And so when people have been like, I don't know about this, I'm like, just try it. And this story hits home why that's so good. So thanks for sharing that part. I just realized at the start of the show that usually one of my later in the podcast questions sets you up to sell a product. And because I normally ask people their dirty secret of how they're using AI. And I want to hear about your AI product for real. I'm truly intrigued.
So the big problem with LinkedIn that people are facing is, what do I post that's going to be genuine, authentic, and resonate with my audience? Right? Because people know the value of LinkedIn, most people, it seems like, but they just don't know really. It's kind of your question earlier. How do I get started? What do I post?
Yeah.
So we built a tool that essentially takes in your ideal customer, the value that you add, the pain points that they have, and the proof that you've done this in the past. Like, where have you helped clients, customers, companies in the past? And it builds you a content strategy based on everything we've learned. It builds out 3 content pillars, and then it builds you a calendar. Monday, post this. Wednesday, post this. Friday, post this. It's super simple, right?
Yeah.
So it's building out this content calendar, and then it helps you draft the post. That's where the AI piece comes in, and it will learn your voice over time. So it'll draft the post, then you can go in and edit it. You can also upload sample LinkedIn posts from the past, so it starts learning your voice. And then it brings in the analytics of the post. So that this post got 1,000 impressions, 10 likes, 5 comments, whatever. And it'll learn what's working and not working over time. So the whole idea is making LinkedIn content that's genuine and authentic, that brings in your experience and expertise and gets smarter over time. That just makes it simple and easy to be showing up every week on LinkedIn.
Wow.
Because keep in mind, LinkedIn is the only social media platform where when I connect with you, you are then a follower of me.
Oh, yeah.
The only one, right? On Instagram, if I follow you, you have to follow me back, right? Maybe you do, maybe you don't. LinkedIn, if you accept my connection request, you are automatically following my content.
So I hadn't thought about that. I'm learning right there myself. So thank you for my own self.
Anyway, we built this tool that just makes it incredibly simple and easy to post on LinkedIn with content that's going to resonate, because that's what it's all about. It's like, if you're posting the clickbaity stuff to get a bunch of impressions, great, but like, you're not talking to your ideal customer, so it doesn't matter. I just think that's a relative waste of time. The people that overthink it and don't know what to post, they just don't post at all. So like, finding the in-between where I'm showing up consistently, creating content that's going to resonate.
I love that. How much, this is just a side social media question I have, because I don't even have an exact answer from it, but with your content calendars, how much do you rely on scheduling and how much do you rely on actually being there when the posts go out?
I don't think it's important to quote be there at all.
Yeah.
I schedule mine at 6 a.m. anyway, so I wouldn't be there. I'm making mine a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, as far ahead as I can get. I'm making it in advance, scheduling it out, and then I don't worry about it, and I never miss a day, and it's just out of sight, out of mind. Because I think any single thing that you are trying to show up to every single day, or even 3 times a week, like block and tackle, schedule 10 posts at once, get it done for the next week and a half, and just always stay ahead of it, and you never have to worry about it.
But you still seem to be pretty good about knowing to be on when a post goes up, because I've seen you comment pretty quickly after things happen.
I think you got to be showing up, but showing up to respond to a comment real quick feels different than I'm going to write this post every day.
Yeah.
I'll check LinkedIn, let's just say 3-4 times a day. I'd say just any comments. And actually my DMs are pretty messy. So I have a VA actually help me. He'll like bring the DM over to like a page, and we'll decide like, do I want to respond or what should I say? Or he actually helps me, because it's overwhelming, to be honest.
I can only imagine what yours are like, because I mean, I'm a different sort of fish, and I'm even getting like I get like maybe 20% of them have something of relevance, and a lot of them are just like searching through someone's, for some odd reason, cold pitch that they're making out of nowhere. So that's actually a good idea to have one of those tools too. You're really helping me. You're really personally helping me on this podcast, so I appreciate it.
And that's the key, right? If I help you, there's no doubt in my mind I'm helping other people.
Exactly.
Right? You are not the 1 in 8 billion that has these questions, thoughts, or unknown things. So that's how I think about the content piece as well. It's like, literally speak to the one person that has that question. And that's actually why I use my sales calls that I have. I use those as inspiration for almost all my LinkedIn posts. Because if that person has a question about LinkedIn, or even the questions you're asking me here, guaranteed thousands, if not millions of people have that same question. So by answering your question directly, I am answering super personally, so that every person that has that question, they feel that I truly get it, and they feel heard in that their experience. That's how you make it feel much more intimate.
Is there anything I missed in this interview, or do you have anything you want to say to either people just like looking to communicate, or really specifically some people starting small businesses and looking to get those first communication pieces going?
Yeah. I actually had someone on our podcast recently who's built her pipeline's like 1.5 million right now.
Yeah.
But a lot of people do my strategies and not all of them come back to me with a $1.5 million pipeline. So I was like, all right, her name's Ellie. I was like, Ellie, what are you doing? Right? Like you are making something work here. And she told me, she's like, it's really simple. She's like, I post consistently. I share my expertise, just like you talk about. And I go look who's commenting and who's liking, and I engage with those people. So that's part one. Part two is I add the new connections every single day. I have like 20 new connections every day of decision makers in my ideal customer profile.
Yeah.
And then I don't hard sell them, right? Those cold pitches, they don't work, right? I don't hard pitch them. I introduce myself. And then a month later, I check in with them if they want to jump on a call. Because what's happened in that month is they're seeing my content. Maybe I'm adding value to them, helping them with something, whatever it is. And then a month later, it's not a cold pitch anymore, right? Now there's a little bit of a relationship there. So it's really pretty simple, right? We're posting content. We're seeing who's engaging with our content, reaching out to them. And then we're adding new connections and a month later, reaching out to those people. That's it. It's really not that hard, but it does take time. And the people out there that want to have a get rich quick silver bullet, I just want to like set it and forget it. That's not how business works.
Right.
We all want that, but it's just not how it works. You got to be willing to put in the time and effort. And so the strategy I just laid out is tried and true. It's simple, it's effective, it works. Very few people are willing to put in the 10 hours a week to do it. That's all it takes, 10 hours.
I like it. So basically 10 hours of that to just hopefully do 10 hours of work. You're at 20 and it's not bad at all.
That's it. I mean, again, there's obviously a lot that goes into it with pricing and proposals and
Right.
who's your client. There's a million things. But as far as getting leads on your calendar, I mean, when she told me the numbers of client calls she was having, percentage that were in her ideal customer profile, close rate, all that kind of stuff, I was blown away. Like she's doing it right. And again, their formula is just not that complicated.
If anyone wants to find you on the interwebs, obviously go to LinkedIn and they'll connect with you right away. But where else can they find out more about Mylance or hear your podcast or whatever?
The podcast is called 6-Figure Secrets of Fractional Experts. So we're on Spotify, YouTube, Apple, the whole thing. The website for Mylance, MyCO. So you can check us out there. We have the wait list going right now for the app. We're getting our beta customers on there. People are getting off the wait list at this point. So come sign up for the wait list. And I'd love to hear from you on LinkedIn. I get lots of DMs from people like, I heard you on this podcast and I learned something new, or I sent it to a friend. Like anything like that really makes my day. It's why I do this. So yeah, I'd say LinkedIn and the website are going to be the best places.
Fantastic. Well, thank you again for sharing so much. And honestly, again, I'm going to be checking the transcript of this because there's 2-3 things that I need to keep in mind. And you gave a whole wealth to the listeners. So thank you so much.
You're welcome. Happy to be here.
And that's it for this episode of Who's This For? Remember, whether you're creating music, brands, experiences, or stories, it's all about focusing on that one person, you. I'm Scott Morfitt, and you can find us wherever you get your podcasts. We'll see you next time on Who's This For?